So the date of recording of this video is 8th March 2020. Exactly 6 years ago, MH370 disappeared. Till today, it has still not been found. However, experts have proposed that the evidence is pointing to the fact that it is a case of pilot suicide. His friends and family, however, believe that this is not possible. So in this episode, we will explore whether the claims made by Captain Zaharie's friends and relatives are valid. So I've picked the darkest colored shirt that I can find in my wardrobe because today we are actually going to talk about something morbid and gloomy, and that is suicide. So previously we were talking about the case of MH370. As previously mentioned, experts now do believe that it was Captain Zaharie that had actually brought the plane to the disappearance by probably committing suicide. However, the friends and relatives of Captain Zaharie refused to believe so. They claim that he was actually very well, he had no debt problems, and he was not seen as depressed prior to the days of the disappearance of MH370. So today, what we are going to do is to look into the claims of his friends and relatives and dispel them one by one. So point number one, is it possible that Captain Zaharie did not commit suicide as claimed by the friends and relatives of Captain Zaharie? So if you have watched my episode 9, you realize that people can be actually very complex. Just knowing your friend as he is does not mean you know the complete him, because everybody could have multiple selves. So point number 2. Now this is talking about suicide itself. The way of looking into suicide just by looking at his debt problem, whether he has marriage issues, is actually very shallow, because according to research on suicide, there are at least a few types of suicide that are not considered by the friends and relatives. So Kim, a researcher in suicide, has proposed that there are 4 types of suicide. So it is also possible that one would commit suicide because he is lonely, feeling disconnected with the society. Another possibility is that his life is in chaos and he could not find a reason or way to continue living. So this could be proposed by the friends and relatives. So what they missed out could be the other 2 types, which we call altruistic suicide and fatalistic suicide. So altruistic suicide is the suicide that is committed by a person for the benefit of his community, his society, or his country. So in Japan, in the World War II period, so we have Japanese fighter planes going into kamikaze, so they actually commit suicide because they are trying to fight for the country. So it is also possible that human beings do that, and it is not a rare occasion that any human being might die for the sake of another person. Another suicide that we know of is called fatalistic suicide, and what actually happens in fatalistic suicide is that the person would rather die than continue to suffer the way he is suffering. So for example, a wife that has been abused by a husband for a long period of time may feel that she wants to escape this type of fate, and so she commits suicide. So I have spoken a lot. So the point is, the friends and relatives of Captain Zaharie did not realize that there are many types of suicide and only focus on the fact that he did not have a debt, he had no marriage and family issues, and that is a very shallow way of looking at suicide. So it's wrong. Equally important is point number 3. Point number 3 is the case of postponement. So most people who actually have planned a suicide, they postpone the suicide. So this is a period whereby they will act very normal, sometimes even very happy, and it could last 1 to 3 months before the suicide itself. This stage of postponement is when the person who actually intended to have suicide is actually planning things. So he's planning what he wants to do, where he wants to commit suicide, how he wants to do it, who is the first person to know, how to give away his things. So in this stage, the person can actually act very normal because they found a solution to their problems and may actually look very relieved and calm. So if you are not careful, you might totally miss this point altogether, and that could actually have happened to the friends and relatives because they claim that Captain Zaharie looked very normal and very happy prior to the days of the disappearance of MH370. So it could, after all, have been a case of suicide. So if you are a new viewer on our channel or you have not subscribed, we hope that you could actually consider subscribing to us. We are a psychology channel that is committed to producing original, fun and interesting work, so you can actually catch more of us in the future. We started the episode today by discussing the case of MH370 and how the relatives of Captain Zaharie may have a misconception of people who would be committing suicide. So this is actually true for a lot of people in the general public. Most people may actually also believe that people who want to commit suicide may be depressed or may look very sad. However, we all need to pay attention to the friends around us. Now, suicide is one of the leading causes of most developed countries, especially for teenagers. So please do not lose a friend or a relative due to ignorance. So that's all for today, and we will see you on the next episode. Bye! So if you are a new viewer or you have not subscribed, do consider subscribing to us because we are a psychology channel trying to make original and fun, interesting content for the entire human, the entire community. So we hope that you can support us so that we can grow together.